Now, let's have some conversation. Yeah, what's your name?
Austin.
Austin. Go ahead, Austin. You get to ask.
Well, you talked about God and the gap theory, the ignorance, like the greatest.
The God of the gaps argument. Yeah.
And how scientifically you can explain thunder and lightning, and so scientifically, how would you explain the creation, like the universe?
Well, I wouldn't call it creation, because that's kind of a loaded term.
Yeah.
How would I explain the universe?
Yeah.
You mean explain?
Well, is there a logical, there is a logical scientific explanation for thunder and lightning? Is there a logical scientific explanation for the universe?
For the fact that the universe exists?
Yes.
Are you saying, now, I think maybe I know what you're getting at. You might be getting at a beginning of the universe?
Right.
Okay, well, there's here a couple responses on that. Number one, you got some disagreement on whether or not there's a kind of an absolute beginning to the universe. Now, there are many scientists who hold to the Big Bang Theory. That might be a good explanation for the beginning of the universe. The Big Bang, that definitely is the dominant scientific theory out there. But you've got other views. There's a view called the multiverse view, where the multiverse view says that, look, our universe is just one of many bubble universes kind of popping up in this larger universe. And so maybe there's another universe that kind of gives rise to our universe, which gives rise to other bubble universes within this larger multiverse. So that's kind of an idea that's been thrown out there and been kind of debated right now. And so, so I think science is kind of leading us down the path of kind of finding some of those explanations. And there's some debate, and I think that's the great thing about science, is you can kind of debate these things and try and work them out and kind of figure out where the evidence ultimately leads. But yeah. Yes?
What do you believe regarding outer space life forms?
Outer space life forms?
Yeah,
like alien life?
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Are there little green men?
Yeah, there's always the possibility that we're not the only ones. What do you believe?
Sure. I think that's a possibility that there are other life forms in the universe. I don't happen to see any evidence for that, so I don't. Right now, I don't have any. I don't have any reason to think that there are other life forms. Yeah.
Well, going back to the gap thing, science is not. It can't explain everything. So
what can't it explain?
Well, if there's
it can't explain aliens.
It can't explain if there's aliens or not, or if there will be water on Mars, or stuff like that.
Well, it seems like science can explain those things. What science tells us right now, through our five senses and through the empirical knowledge we gain from science, we discover there's no evidence. Science tells us there's no evidence for aliens right now. Actually, it's scientific discovery that's helped us to find water on Mars or what have you. So I think science can explain quite a bit.
But it can't, it can't explain everything.
It can't explain crop circles. Okay.
Because aliens, and they think aliens.
I'm not talking just about aliens, but I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
Well, if an alien comes down, if an alien visits the Earth, right? What is it? Our five senses are going to tell us that's an alien.
Yeah.
We might, if we capture it, what are we going to do? We might dissect it or whatever. We're going to give it to the scientists and the researchers to tell us what's going on here. What's is there DNA in this thing? Or so science is going to help us answer those questions. And what science says is, just like unicorns, we just don't have any evidence for aliens. Crop circles maybe can be explained by a bunch of college students going out to a field and playing a joke, right? And there are those kinds of reports that a lot of these kinds of things are frauds. And so those are explained, and we find that there's no evidence for aliens. Yeah, so science, I think, tells us quite a bit. Yeah.
How and when did you know that you were an atheist?
When I went to college.
Did you believe in God before, or were you just
I've grown up in a Christian home, and went to a good Southern Baptist church growing up, and went to college and had a college professor there who really opened my eyes to, I think, to reason and rationality and logic, science and these kinds of things, and really eventually, you know, walk away from those things, I believe, when I was younger. Yes?
Science can't prove how the world came to be. It can give theories, but we still don't know. Like, Christianity gives us a theory of how the world came to be, and the Big Bang Theory is kind of out there, but yes, scientific reasoning does, like, kind of make sense of it.
Well, let me just correct you that the Big Bang Theory is the most well-attested, one of the most well-attested scientific theories out there in terms of kind of the origin. So it's not kind of like, oh, this is just our best guess. No, we're pretty solid in the Big Bang. Yeah. But, I mean, you say we can't prove something. Well, in the sense that we can, I mean, it depends on what you mean by proof. We can show the evidence and say this is where it's pointing us. But, I mean, you certainly can't prove
It'll
God.
never be 100%.
It'll never be 100%, right.
You never know.
And so you could, well, you would have to say the same thing about God.
Exactly.
So you would never know about God then, because you can't prove it 100%. Yeah. Okay.
I think that everyone has to remember about the God of the gaps argument is like, the point is the fact that we used to attribute lightning and stuff to God when we didn't have an explanation of it means that when something you don't understand now, God is not an explanation for it. Like, just because we don't have a scientific explanation for it, like I know in biology we're talking about some jellyfish that lives really deep, but we don't know how it survives the pressure. That doesn't mean that God gave it magical powers. Like,
Right.
we didn't understand lightning before, but now we do. We don't understand maybe how the universe began, but that doesn't mean that God is the only explanation for it. Because God isn't even really an explanation. It's just saying, I don't know how it happened. So,
Okay. So you're on my side on that.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll take it.